Alrighty guys, so I didn't record the beginning part of this. Basically just took off the front bumper. There's a really good tutorial on YouTube already on how to take the bumper off and put it back on, so I didn't bother showing all the steps for that. We're getting ready to remove the fender liner for preparations for when we go lower. I already removed all the plastic undershields from underneath the car. Those are just bolts and clips, super simple. And then the other thing we're going to be doing is actually removing the rocker. So it's basically just two bolts on either side, one here, one on the bottom, same thing for the back. And then there's two screws that go sideways that are underneath the door, so you have to open the door to access those. And then underneath there's a bunch of giant pop clips that you have to pop out. And then once you take all that stuff out, you should just be able to pull the side skirt straight off sideways, and then it'll come right off. So if we come over here, we got the bumper off right there, and then here is the rocker. As you can see, it's a little bit damaged from the previous owner, but these are the holes where the giant pop clips go, and then I'll show you guys those pop clips. They're pretty obscene. So here's the four main pop clips that go across the bottom and the middle, and then there's smaller ones that are towards the front and back that actually they're not two-piece like this. It's just a solid plug, and those are super hard to get out, so I actually ended up breaking most of them. Probably will not be reusing those, so I'm going to be relying primarily on these giant two-piece pop clips in the middle to keep the rocker or side skirt on, whatever you want to call it. So here's the wheel off. Looks like the fender liner is just held on by these clips and such, and then we'll take out those bolts as well. But once we get all that stuff off, we should be able to pop that right out, and then this will be a good opportunity to inspect everything and see if there's anything else we need to keep in mind once we remove this fender liner about what's going to be exposed and what we might need to protect. Alright, we successfully got the fender liner out. It was actually pretty easy. So looking up here, we have this wiring harness and the hood release cable right there. We might have to tuck those. And then we also have this ABS sensor line that runs down the inside of the fender well down to the ABS. But we might be able to get away with it. I don't know, we'll have to see. We'll have to play it by ear. But it's also super dirty underneath, so I'm gonna clean it up as best as I can. And then we have these grounding cables on either side right here. Those are going to be exposed to whatever the wheel is going to fling at it, so especially water if I'm driving in the rain. So what I'm probably going to do is just electrical tape these so they're no longer exposed. So on the rear of these cars, they actually don't use a removable fender liner. The fender well is just sprayed with like this rhino liner type stuff. So all we have right here is like this little mud flap, but we're gonna take that off. And sorry about the aircraft noise. So just to show you what we got done today, we got the rocker off, so we now have both rocker sides off. We got the fender liner off, and then we electrical taped these grounds here. And then we're gonna figure out later what we're gonna do about the cables inside there. But what I'm gonna do now is go to the other side and do the fender liner on the other side. But it's probably going to be the exact same thing as this side, so that's all we got done for today. Oh, and we have a lot of garbage inside those fender liners. So it is the next day, and I actually noticed that there is kind of a fender liner in here. So there's one here that covers up the gasoline filler pipe, and then there's one towards the rear that we probably won't even have to remove. Plus it's like integrated into the bottom of the rear bumper. But we're just going to worry about those when it comes time to work on the rear. The other thing I want to do real quick was actually delete the rear wiper and the rear wiper motor. I know some people actually like the rear wiper, but I personally do not. So I actually took apart all the interior trim already. I took out the motor. All that's left is this little gasket. So we're going to remove that, and I actually bought a little plug to install in its place just to make sure that no water and stuff goes in over time. So here is all the interior trim for the hatch all popped out. It was actually extremely easy to do. I didn't break any of the clips, so that's pretty awesome. Here's our plug that we bought. So it's got the little plastic piece there, a rubber washer, and then a nut to hold everything in place. And then here's the gasket for the wiper motor that we already popped out. Check this out, guys. Here's our final product. So there's the rubber and the nut side of the delete cap, and then the other side is almost perfectly flush with the windshield. That's some pretty crazy stuff, but very satisfied with this product.